If Jesus were a radio station, most of us would prefer that he be an easy listening station. You know, one with calm music that doesn't get too loud. One that plays popular tunes but generally stays on in the background. That's kind of the way we want our Jesus. We don't want a loud hard rock station blaring loud music at us all day. We don't want political talk radio shouting at us all day. We want calm, easy, quiet. But that's not always the Jesus we get. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. And this is your daily devotional for Saturday, January 3rd, 2026. I've been talking lately about the mystery of the Incarnation. Fitting for these 12 days of Christmas. But I'm not so much talking about the mystery of incarnation itself, but rather the question, why did Jesus come into the world in the first place? There are lots and lots of ways to come at this question, but I'm focusing on places in the Gospels where Jesus himself, in his own words, tells us the reasons why he came. Today we return to a story we have already seen, the one about the healing of the man blind from birth, and the conflict it created with the Pharisees. The story, you'll recall, is that Jesus met a man in Jerusalem who was born blind. The disciples wanted to know why he had been born blind. In that day and time, blindness like this was seen as the direct result of sin. But since the man had been born blind, naturally they wanted to know whether the man himself had sinned or his parents. All the makings of an interesting theological discussion. But Jesus short-circuits this line of discussion by saying that the man was born blind for this moment so that God's glory could be revealed. And with that, Jesus heals the man, and the man can see, apparently for the first time in his life. And with that, Jesus and his disciples move on. But now the Pharisees enter the picture. They want to know who healed this man. Was it a sinner who did this? This sets up a neat story about actual blindness and metaphorical blindness. The man born blind believed Jesus, and Jesus gave him sight. In his response to the Pharisees, the man says, "If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." You see, though born blind, the man sees clearly enough who Jesus really is. Now the Pharisees respond to him, "You were born entirely in sins, and are you trying to teach us?" This conflict sets up a conflict between Jesus and the Pharisees. And now Jesus re-enters the scene. We read, Jesus heard that they had driven the man out, and when he found him, they said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" The man answered, "And who is he, sir? Tell me, so that I may believe in him." Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." He said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshipped him. Jesus said, "I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and those who do see may become blind." In this story, the meaning of blindness now shifts from literal, as in the fact that this man was born literally blind, to metaphorical. Even though the man had been born blind, he was able to see with perfect clarity that Jesus was special, worth his trust and worship. On the other hand, the Pharisees, though able to see perfectly well with their eyes, were really blind to who Jesus was. This brings us back to the original question which the disciples had asked. Who sinned here? It opens up the question of the relationship between sin and blindness. In the traditional view, blindness was a result of sin. But now Jesus reverses it. The sin of the Pharisees is their blindness to who he is and what he's doing. And the judgment? It is for the willful denial of Jesus. But this is where it gets interesting. Notice that Jesus doesn't actually cast judgment. Those who opposed him effectively judged themselves. Does this mean that all who do not acknowledge Jesus as Lord and Savior stand under judgment? Probably no more than we do who say we believe but who act otherwise. But the good news is judgment need not be forever. In fact, we all stand judged and found wanting. It is only by grace that we are saved, which is to say that Jesus doesn't so much come to do away with judgment, but rather comes to reveal to us that we stand judged and then offers us the salvation we cannot attain for ourselves. Are we as blind as the Pharisees? Maybe. Do we stand under judgment? Absolutely. Is judgment the last word? Absolutely not. The last word is grace. You see now? Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.